Hi, I'm Justin Labato, President of the International Detailing Association, here with Master Detailer Renny Doyle, also the Detailer of Air Force One, the author of How to Start a Home-Based Detail Business, and overall an industry leader for 38 years. Renny, just wanted to go over a couple of things in regards to where we are in the industry, the state of the industry to say.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of topics. We got only so much time to cram in.
Yeah,
but overall, let's start with the educational trend on where we've seen from where you do with your training, what you've seen other people, I mean, including obviously Mike here. Yeah. I mean, all these things that have started everything with training and where it's gone and where it is now.
You know, I think the trend is, just, it's tremendous to see where it's going. First off, the amount of, there's been some manufacturers come in recent years that are investing tremendously into educating us as detailers. I know that P&S and Flex, Autogeek, to name a couple, we're here right now, is the investment's been huge.
Absolutely.
The number two thing that we're seeing is that if you're hiring a detailer on right now and they look professional, they've got top grade equipment and products, is you've got probably a 50% chance that they've got a bachelor's degree, if not higher. Now, we never used to see that, even 10, 15 years ago when I started training, is we would see some educated people come in, but the amount, I'm going to say close to half of the people that we train now in our training academy have got advanced degrees. So it's amazing. So much so, I'll admit it, that I got kind of a complex. As I went to college, didn't finish my degree up, and then 3 or 4 years ago, I finished my degree because I thought, you know what, I'm training people that are degreed, I better go in and do it. So the amount of education that's being shared and absorbed by detailers is phenomenal.
Yeah, and that could account for all the, educational tools we have, internet, things of that nature that help promote those things,
social media,
all the content.
Yeah, you bet.
Now, as far as moving forward, past the educational trend, I would say the massive growth of a lot of the unscaled and or premature growth as well. Like you see growth of great businesses, but all of them tend to come in with, a load of money, but no capital. And they blow it all on getting the pretty shops because they see other people who have taken 10 years to build those shops. And now they're trying to do it overnight thinking it's just going to pop for them.
You bet. That's a big worry I've got is I'm seeing a trend right now where everybody's whiting their shops out. Everything's pretty. Everything's huge. My shop's 1,800 square feet. My most profitable shop that did over $1 million a year in business was just over 1,000 square feet. I really worry that right now the economy's strong. It's just burning with money. I mean, you can turn every which direction and you can pick up a $100 bill. What happens when the economy slows down and these guys have got these mega shops, and what are they going to do? And my fear is, we've seen this before, is that we're going to see a lot of failures. And unfortunately for us, when shops go down, landlords are a little less hesitant to rent to detailers. There's a lot of bad things going on now. There's some good solid growth going on.
Absolutely.
But there's a lot of people going to these shops that just they have enough money to move in, and that's it. And unfortunately, it takes a lot more money, a lot more capital, a lot more backup to be successful than that. So I say slow things down.
And to touch on that too, a lot of them are going in and doing these big shops and solely basing their business off of one stream of revenue of like ceramic coatings or paint correction, things like that in regards to just exterior services. They're not becoming well-rounded, meaning that they're not capitalizing on other streams of revenue of reselling product or reselling an add-on service such as glass protection, paint protection film, window tint, whatever it may be that fits that automotive category of what they could bring in-house. They're not doing a lot of stuff on interiors. I mean, when we do the SV testing with IDA, you know where most people fail?
On the interiors.
Interiors. You know why? Everybody knows that there's money to be made on the outside. I get it. But there's just as much money to be made on the inside if it's structured properly. And the problem is guys are straying away from that. But when the economy hits and nobody can afford a coating anymore, they're going to want just your traditional services, your waxes, your sealants, and an interior clean.
Exactly that.
And if you can't do a good job, guess what? That big shop is going to go under if you can't make the money.
You might be a little too young to remember this, Justin, but if you go back into the 90s, even the late 80s when I got into business the first time, was the housing slowdowns. It's always the economy always slow. It's not when, it's going to happen. But you go down to the 80s, as we had, an economic slowdown. We had the first Persian Gulf War hit. Then we come in, everything got busy again, and then all of a sudden another housing slowdown hits, real estate goes down. Then we go in again, a tech bubble hits. That wasn't fun to live through. These are all things that we lived through, by the way. Then 9/11 happened. 9/11 was interesting because at this point we've got multiple companies, both in and out of detailing. That hits, that slows things down. Then everything takes off again, and then we all know, 08 hits, the Great Recession.
Yep.
And here's what happens is we saw some of the biggest, loudest, popular detailers in the world go bye-bye, and they're still not back. And the reason why is they just unbridled spending, is they just went crazy, they didn't control themselves, and they just got way out of control. So I'm seeing a lot of those trends happen right now. It really spooks me. I think people need more money in savings, less space, less big shops, and put money away for a rainy day and just be conservative. And that's not happening. A lot of these shops that are in mid-America, they're watching what's going on in Florida, what's going on in Scottsdale, Arizona, what's going on in LA, and they're trying to imitate that, and their market's just not that market. And I just wish I could.
And they could be lucrative.
They could be lucrative.
They just have to dial in with what their market is demanding, so they could provide.
And don't overspend.
Yeah.
Don't overspend.
Build the capital.
That's it.
And like you said, coatings, they're not going nowhere. So those that are on the fence about getting involved with coatings, I suggest you do, because if you don't, by the time you do, we might be onto something else next. It's just like somebody, back in the late 90s where everybody was like, oh, Teflon and paint sealants, that's just that new snake oil.
Yeah.
It's not. Now it's a standard.
I remember when people were saying that nobody buy microfiber towels.
There's always that, which is,
it's all good.
If people want to be opinionated, they'll eventually realize.
My point to this is 1,000 square foot, not even that, just under 1,000 square feet, over $1 million a year, end of story. You don't need, bigger's not better.
No.
Better's better. Simple as that.
Be realistic.
Be realistic. Have money in the bank.
So with that said, moving on to the next subject, tools and products and man, where we've come in the evolution of chemistry with products.
It's unreal.
And that helps aid everything we've talked about, but in moving forward, like the one-step products, and not only that, but being able to utilize these compounds and polishes to be a one-step product that are able to deliver 60 to 80% or greater in one step and still hit the mark for your customers' expectations.
Absolutely.
And make money.
Here's it is. Tool, pad, product. Comes down to that. Then it's this guy behind it, or this gal.
Which one's the tool?
Behind it. It depends. Ask my wife. Ask my wife. It's so tool, pad, product, comment, and then your knowledge, knowing what your customer wants, doesn't want.
Yes.
It's not what you want, it's what they want. Now, I can tell you might think, man, I'm only getting it to 60. That 60% correction in your eyes is 200% in theirs.
Yep.
And so you got to stop looking at it from that. And you also got to take, and you know what? If they're buying a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, I'm going to give them a damn good peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I'm going to get good bread. I'm going to get organic peanut butter. I'll go out and make the damn jelly myself. But here it is. It's not a steak.
No.
It's not a steak. They're not buying it. So many right now are giving steaks away. I think the key right now is going forward. Hot topic is single steps back, one step correction. You can coat it, move on. I love the fact that trend is coming back into place. Here's why. I'm an advocate of detailing. I'm an advocate of moving it. Look, 38 years. I'm 52 years old right now. I can tell you what's pumped me up more than anything. That perfection I get out of a car, or a happy customer and money in my bank. It's, you know what? Get over the addiction to shine. Start being addicted to happy customers and money in your pocket in a successful business.
If you're addicted to shine, unfortunately, that puts you in a position as being a detailer more than an entrepreneur.
That's it.
Because what happens is, it goes right back to our last conversation, you start losing profit.
That's it.
And at the end of the day, the whole point is to make the customer happy.
Yep.
Now, we are specialists, and you want to go out and you want to do an evaluation with the customer. You want to go ahead and do a walk around and point things out and see what their concerns are.
Yeah.
And if things that you see don't concern them,
absolutely,
then it is what it is. We go back before coatings were around, before everybody got so crazy in this paint correction thing. And, when we put a wax on back then or a paint sealant, if there was a flaw there, guess what? The customer still came back out when the job was finished, was like, oh my God, this car looks amazing. Yeah. And those defects were still there.
That's it.
Nothing's changed.
No, nothing has. The detailer, I think that social media and stuff has played a part in that. But here's the other cool part about that is that, the evolution, we'll talk about some brands a little bit, but more as an industry is we finally have got, guys like us, we've been in tune with the ability of a forced action tool for years. And we've been running that tool. It's cool to finally see the rest of the industry coming on to that same thing. And I think that's going to, a year from now, we're going to see a great push with that tool because you got more manufacturers getting engaged in it. Instead of just having one, you've got multiple options out there now.
Yes.
You get pad manufacturers. You got people like Buff and Shine that are coming in and they're making pads specific to that tool and then specific to products that P&S is building. So they'll say, wow, hold on. We got a forced action tool. We got P&S with this cool product. Let's make a pad that interacts well with both of these. Bam, you got a winning situation.
Yeah.
How can you beat that?
Yeah.
So it's really cool to see that thank God, the one step's coming back because, again, 80% of the world, that's where you're making your money at.
And to me personally, the one step never died.
No, it didn't for me either.
It was always one of those things that if I could
puts money in the pocket.
Yeah, if I could create the right combination and make sure I hit the mark on what the customer wants and some a little bit.
Why not?
Good to go.
Why not?
Yeah, no, exactly.
I dig. I'm with you. I'm with you.
And again, like you said, that's what makes the money, and that's what people get into detailing for. Don't get me wrong. There's a passion behind detailing. There's an art behind detailing. There's all these wonderful things, but that art and that passion doesn't put money in the bank. You go to Chase and say, "Here, I got a check for passion." They're going to laugh you right out the bank.
That's exactly it.
So it's one of those
Passion
things.
doesn't buy a house.
No. So it's one of those things that you've got to really look at and draw the line in the sand. Do you want to make money as an entrepreneur, or are you just going to be a hobbyist at it and not make any money?
The difference between me and an artist is that our bank account. It's not all about money at me. We've made it about people. It's really about people, relationships, my staff. I made some critical mistakes in 2008 of trying to keep my staff alive too long. And so forth. So when people say, it's just about the money with you. No, it's not. It's about the people. It's about being happy, but it's also about paying the bills.
Yeah, you still got to focus on that.
That's it.
Absolutely. Well, with that said, moving forward, let's move into events. Where a lot of the networking, a lot of the meat of our environment, of our industry. And you've done it yourself. Where I've dabbled in multi-level marketing. And the biggest thing about multi-level marketing is you got to be at the events. If you want to be successful, you've got to put your butt in the seat.
Yep.
That's what it is. The more butts they have in the seats, the more successful the event, the more hype, the more energy and motivation people leave to really go out there and hustle whatever it is. Same thing with detailing. The people that show up to these events in the past 5 years and me coming from Detail Fest, Mobile Tech, all these events I've joined and seen, the people that are consistently going are always have passion, always have this motivation behind them, this enthusiasm because they're continuously going.
You bet.
And that's what sparks and re-sparks the fire. So when you go back home and get drawn down and bogged out on so much work, you get to go to one of these events and see people happy and smiling, and it encourages you to go right back out there and get it again.
That's it.
And what's your take on that?
Back 2005, 2006, I met my pal Jim Gogan. And we were opposite corners of the country. We met at Mobile Tech Expo here in Florida, and the next thing we started hanging out for Detail Fest, for SEMA. Both of us have been going to SEMA for close to 2 decades at that point. But what's funny, Justin, is that at all these events, 06, 07, we'd maybe see there'd be a dozen detailers at Mobile Tech. Now here there'd be a little more because of the influence that Autogeek's got, and then maybe a dozen, maybe 20 detailers at SEMA. Now how many are there? There's hundreds.
Oh yeah, we got our own section now.
There's hundreds.
Yeah.
So the events have changed, the education's changed. Detailers are now at the SEMA event going upstairs and attending the ongoing training that goes there. It's a very valuable thing. They're coming to Detail Fest, they're honing in. Mike Phillips is out of town right now on a remote training. They're going to those events. They're coming to the events that we host at your place. They're traveling, they're investing, they're going to all these different options that they've got that they never bought into before. And I think that on a personal scale and on a business scale is when you go there and you meet people and you can see them. They're not online. They're not behind a keyboard. People will kind of lose their coolness a little bit. You get to really get to know them as a person.
Yep.
And it's magical.
It is.
It really is. Events to me is like, coming here when we started filming today, Yancey was cracking up because, we're in his house. We're in Mike Phillips' house, and it was kind of nerve-wracking at first because it's like, oh my God, it's intimidating. But events are, It's huge. I mean,
yeah.
we've both been, you many times, on the filming of the episodes, you know? So
yeah.
for Autogeek's show, I mean.
Competition ready.
I mean, can you imagine that? I mean, just going to that non-official event, but a filming event, and getting them, hey, man, I know that guy, you know, and getting to meet these guys that you've been following and you love. And
yeah,
it's just,
and then you
cool.
get to realize
it's cool.
that they are approachable.
That's
they will talk with you. They will help you. They will give you their phone number.
Yeah.
It's like it makes it for more valuable.
Cute.
You know, I try.
It is.
It depends. What phone number did I give you?
That's it. You never answer.
But overall, I think there's value in the events, and as a detailer that wants to grow, I think it's a standard that they should be going.
You bet.
And leading from that, last but not least, you know, the biggest thing, the IDA.
You know, Diane and I, we Bob Phillips, we watched Keith Duplessis. I can go through the names and I can't do it justice, but I like Bob and Keith, so I'll throw their names out there. You know, I was critical of them in the early days. They're sitting right here. They'll tell you, I beat them up because we had some turmoil with other organizations. But here, let's cut to the chase. Diane and I have backed up the IDA. We're heavily invested in the IDA. We don't get anything back.
No, and it's nonprofit.
Financially.
For those that we need to clarify, the IDA is nonprofit.
We will never get physically the money we've put into it back out. What we do get out is seeing our industry grow. It's now the standard. John F. Kennedy in his famous speech, don't ask what your industry can do for you, but what you can do for your industry. We're at a point to where the younger guys that are watching this right now have a chance to take and seed themselves within an organization and forever change the face of this organization. Older guys like me, you can bring your talents, your success, your pocketbooks, everything, and help build up the industry that has made your living. Listen, you take and you pay the way for your family, for your betterness. If you don't think you need to put back into that industry, you're sniffing model glue. Is that you've got to do it. And, you know, I'm tired of hearing, what do I get out of it? You know what? Ask yourself what you can put into it to change it. You want the bottom feeders to stop undermining your business? Get in and help educate them. That's the key, is educating other people. And the IDA is filled with wonderful people that have got a strong passion, that are putting everything they've got into it, and many times off their own dime. And they don't expect a return. You know what their return's going to be? Investing into the industry that they absolutely love. That's my own story.
No, and that's how you get your return. The more investment you make into this industry, the return will start coming after that. But you've got to make the move to invest first. You've got to be the first one in to make that. And if you can't be the first one in to make that, then don't expect to get anything back. Yep. So if you're the one asking, what is it going to do for me, then you haven't put enough in yet. And to me personally, with the way things have been going, especially this last year, now becoming president, you know, there's a lot of great trainers and mentors out there.
There are.
And they're all adjacent. And I just made a video on this. They're all adjacent to what we're doing with the association.
Absolutely.
My challenge to them is, if they're doing so good with feeding to their small network of people, come and join the IDA and see how much value you'll bring and how much return you'll see in building others up. And I guarantee that right there will put a spark under you that will make you happy and passionate all over again about what you do, and it'll allow you to see the value in the International Detailing Association and why we're here and we're here to stay. Because I'll tell you right now, eventually, when we get recognized some way, shape, or form by the Federal Board of Labor at any level, and we start getting into vocational schools right beside the ASE and things like that, the people that are doing this as a profession, legitimately, pay to play, all the insurance, all the right things to be in business, been in business for years, it's going to take effect on you. And if you weren't with the wave then
you have to adjust. It's going to be harder to adjust later.
It is. It's going to be difficult. So with that said, I strongly encourage, if you're on the fence, do it and join us, and you'll be very happy.
I'm going to go one step further. He's got to be politically correct. I don't. Don't just join the group. Get involved. Get in a committee. Get out there and help us grow. We need it. I'll tell you the best and coolest way, and I'll close it out with this. The coolest thing about the IDA, look at that. The people that you're around, when you get to know them, the people that are dedicating, donating their time, you can't get better people than the people that are involved at the grassroots of helping it grow. You love them, and they engage your life. They make your life better. They make your business better. They're great people. Get out there. Get involved. It's the future. It's the future now. Simple as that.
Yeah, the IDA is a mountain. You're climbing the mountain as a non-member. So what we can do as members is help pull you up, put you on top of that mountain. So when you scream your opinion, we can hear you. And that's what the IDA is for. And for that, Renny Doyle, thank you. I appreciate it. Appreciate your friendship, your mentorship.
Yeah, same here, man.
And just overall, us being able to get together and collaborate on this.
Yeah, I think, thank you to Autogeek for stepping up, making this available. Their audience that they have is massive, and we want to thank them for hosting us.
Yeah.
For allowing us to come into their studios. Mike, hope you're working hard. Sorry we missed you. It's been great, man. I hope this, I want to see the industry grow. I'll close it out with just, I just get connected, man. Just get connected.
So thank you, Autogeek, Flex,
P&S,
Double Black, and of course, Buff and Shine.